Hi everybody, this is Sandra from Smart Cookies. I just wanted to let you know, we have a couple minutes before we get started, but wanted to let you know that you are in the right place for what's going to be a really great discussion this evening about making money and creating wealth and saving our money and working hard and putting a plan in place. So I'll introduce Janie and Renee shortly, but we'll just wait for everyone else to hop on, so hang tight. Hi everybody, this is Smart Cookies, Sandra here. I want to welcome you to what's going to be a really awesome night. So this is I kind of think of it as almost going back to old school money club style. So I've got some great ladies joining me tonight, as well as hundreds of you from all over the place. I'm watching everyone come into the join us in the room right now. So again, I'm Sandra, and I want to introduce, I have on the line with me Janie Riley and Renee Linares Chin as well. So I want to introduce you quickly to these fantastic women who are fantastic friends, but also some of the smartest women that I know. So I'll start with Janie. So Janie has many gifts. One of them is helping babies and toddlers sleep. So if there's any moms on the call, Janie is your go-to girl. She's been my go-to, and she's the reason why I'm getting sleep at night with little baby Violet. But what's remarkable about Janie is the business that she's created from her talent, and really, has reached a success beyond anything I think she sort of imagined for herself. So I'm excited for her to share her story with you. And she's also founder of Clean Fit Mom as well. So I'll link to their websites at the end of the call. But We Sleep and Clean Fit Mom, Janie Riley, is your girl. And Renee, so she's become a really wonderful friend, and also she's one of the smartest women that I know. She's an attorney who ranked second in her class and a published author, and she's currently working on a personal finance book, which will be a follow-up to her book on estate planning, which has an estimated release date of May. So we'll watch from that for Renee. So tonight, actually, Renee and Janie, you want to say hello?
Hi everyone, this is Renee. I'm so happy to be a part of the Smart Cookies webinar, and I'm excited to chat with everyone about money.
Hi everyone, it's Janie here. It's so great to be here and be able to share some tips, tricks, and advice, and just to be able to chat with everybody this evening. thanks so much, Sandra, for having me.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad you ladies are joining me tonight. So I think too, when we talk about, we get excited, or I get excited about talking about money, but I realize it's a topic a lot of people don't necessarily get excited about. But I really think it should be fun, exciting, and even sometimes sexy. So I think we should get into that and dive into the nitty gritty. So what we'll do tonight is really examine how we think about wealth and money, and practice thinking about money in possibly a different way, and look at some fresh approaches to money management and my favorite topic, making more dough. So the point is too, we'll talk to Jeannie and Renee and really share some real stories, right? So we're not talking in generic fluff terms here. We're going to be sharing real strategies and real been there, done that advice to help you kind of cut through the overwhelm and take action when it comes to your money, because it can be really overwhelming. So what I wanted to start with was, I don't know if you can see, I hope you can all see the slides, but these are some of the words that I think we maybe catch ourselves saying or talk about, and it's not necessarily in line with really creating the real wealth that we want to in our lives. And maybe it goes back to some of the earliest childhood memories that we have when it comes to money. So maybe we could talk about that for a bit. Renee, do you remember your first childhood memory when it comes to money?
I do, actually. I was probably, I want to say, in kindergarten or first grade, and I'm dating myself a little bit. It was the 80s, and I wanted to get my grubby little fingers on some, hot pink and purple pencil cases and trapper keepers, and just all this stuff that was ridiculously overpriced. And my parents looked at me and said, "No way, you can use your own money to get this." And I said, "I don't have any money." They said, "I guess you're not going to be getting these, toys and stickers." And so I kind of realized in that moment, like, my parents are rich, but I'm poor. I need to work if I want to be able to afford to purchase the things that I like. Mm-hmm. That was pretty much my first memory.
What about you, Amy?
My first money memory, I don't remember how old I was, but for sure it was when I was a lot younger than I am now. And my dad telling me that money doesn't grow on trees, mm-hmm. and that you have to earn your own money. And I was like, what? What do you mean? Like, where does this money come from? So I had to learn quickly that if I wanted anything, just like Renee, I had to work for it. And I started working when I was 13 years old, a real job. Before that, it was lemonade stands and, just some pennies and that sort of thing. But I guess it would be my first part-time job when I was 12 or 13, and I always had 2 or more part-time jobs always through school. And it basically it did teach me that I have to purchase the things that I want. And, when I was older and I was purchasing larger things and say, a house or that sort of thing, and, my dad would be there to help out at times if I, was a little bit stuck or tight, but I was always the key contributor, and nothing was ever handed to me, even though my parents could have handed me that brand new car or bought that house for me, those sort of things. But I was always taught that I had to earn what I wanted to purchase.
And I think you feel like that has carried over into why you've been such a successful businesswoman?
Absolutely. I just remember, my dad always being, conscious about money and saving, and, family vacations were treats. They were special. Yeah. Even though, like I said, they could afford them, and it wasn't like we were going paycheck to paycheck, but I was like, that stuck with me because I knew, I have to, think smart about my money. It is serious, and,
Yeah. No, I feel the same way. Renee, do you feel that the, sort of that first memory you had of, wanting to save up for your trapper keeper and those things, did that translate into how you manage money as an adult?
Sure. I think it made me more ambitious because I wanted to be able to be independent and purchase things for myself that I wanted, regardless of whether someone else thought it was appropriate or not.
Mhm.
Pretty much boils down to I hate being told what to do. And I figured out at a young age if I make my own money, then I have more control over my life.
I think that's sort of a common denominator among, I think, a lot of what makes everyone on this call smart cookies, and that includes everyone listening right now. So everyone who's listening in right now, and I'm seeing more and more people join, so welcome. Take a minute, and if you have a pen handy right now, that's fantastic. And maybe have a think about and write down your earliest money memory, because the more we become aware of how we think of our money, if we need to do a little bit of reprogramming there, then sort of acknowledging where those patterns come from is definitely the first step. And all these phrases you see on your screen right now, we sort of coined them as cookie swear words. But really trying to think about wealth and money in a positive way. And even now with my kids, I always try to catch myself when saying things like money doesn't grow on trees or we can't afford that, and trying to put money in it, wrapping it in a more positive vibe. I think just really helps us frame our money mindset and helps us attract and definitely make more dough a lot easier, which is nice. Frugal is one of the words that is swear word also. We're smart and savvy, not frugal. So this is interesting, and I'm excited to ask this question to Janie and Renee. But when we talk about rich, I think a lot of people kind of get almost fidgety when you say the word rich, like, oh gosh, I'm not deserving of that, or I don't know, there's just an emotional reaction that is tied to that. But rich doesn't necessarily need to be tied to these preconceived notions. Maybe we could talk about that a little bit. What does rich mean to us? Janie, do you want to start? What does being rich mean to you?
Sure. To me, being rich would mean inspiring and helping people and making money while I sleep, planning for the future, doing what I love. It's not about the dollars in the bank account, but it's what I do to get those dollars there and how it fulfills me and enriches my life daily. That's what rich means to me. So, I guess back to, how there's so many people that say, oh, I think your last slide said something about rich bitch and that sort of thing. And, it doesn't, to me, just living rich and living full and knowing that I love what I do and what I do is making an income that is, fulfilling everything that I need in my life right now, that to me is what rich would mean.
Do you want to paint that picture for us a little bit, Janie, about like what does a day in your life look like? Because I think the spot that you're in right now is where so many people on this call aspire to be, right? Like you're really living your life right now. So what does that look like in terms of, work and the hours you put in and time you spend with your family?
Sure. So my day is up at 7 with my son and my husband. It's, coffee, making lunch for my 4-year-olds, and bringing him to school, not rushing to get out of bed, putting on my Lululemon and a hair in a ponytail or a baseball cap, dropping him off at school, and then working out for an hour and a half, doing some errands, coming home, and I also do check my emails when I'm on the treadmill or on the Stairmaster, so I am actually technically working while I work out. And I have mastered that technique for sure. And then, so I feel good that I've got my workout out, I've got some emails off my plate, I do a couple of errands if I have to do any running around to get groceries or mail or the post office, whatever the case may be. And then it's usually 3 to 4 hours max at my desk, obviously dealing with clients on the phone via Skype, FaceTime, or phone, or just catching up on emails, picking up my son from school at 3 o'clock or 3:30, spending time with him when he gets home, and then dinner, bath, and then I might hop on my computer again just to do a wrap-up and plan for my next day later on in the evening. but that's pretty much what my day looks like. So some weeks are heavier than others, but really on an average week, I work about 25 hours.
Wow. And that's by design, right? Like that was intentional for you. Like this was the life you wanted to live, and you figured out a way to make it happen.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into more about how Jeannie did that a little bit later on. But what struck me about that is that you have such a clear definition of that life for yourself, right? I mean, you're obviously living it, but you know what that means to you, and I think that that's huge. Renee, what about you? What does rich mean in your life?
Well, for me, rich means that I don't ever have to be someone else's employee again. Mm-hmm. I've been working since I was about 14 years old, and I've had some pretty colorful work experiences and employers. However, the best thing for me was around 2012 when I decided to start my own law practice. Mm-hmm. And it was nerve-wracking and scary. But ultimately, I felt like my life was enriched because I had control over my schedule, over what clients I took, and over what hours I worked. And so being rich to me really meant being my own boss and not having to be an employee to someone else.
And do you feel like in your life now on a day-to-day basis you're living that and you're working towards that and you found that fulfillment?
Yes, absolutely. My life right now, I think, is amazing for me. Yeah. I never thought that I would be able to support myself working, 25 to 30 hours a week and be doing something that I enjoy, which I love to write. And I still actively practice law in California and Texas. And I'm able to do that. I work from my home office. I live in a place called Sugarland, where they used to make sugar mills. And
real.
Yeah, it's pretty great. It's pretty great for me right now. I feel very lucky and blessed.
Lucky, but I think what's key about what I'm hearing from both of you ladies is that it's very much by design. It wasn't luck that you're living the lives that you want to be living. You made that happen, and I think that's a really key ingredient in being a smart cookie and reaching not only your financial goals but really living the life you want to live. And that really is, looking at, okay, what does rich mean to me? Like, really, what does that look like? And you guys just painted such a clear picture of what that is, and I love that so much. And we have an exercise that I'll send out to everyone afterwards, but we call it a day well lived. And it really is like hour by hour how you would live if you're not right now, if you're not in a position where you feel like you're living the life that you should be living. Okay, what does that life look like? And let's paint that picture and then work backwards. These are a few images I thought would be fun to share from my, I have my day well lived as a Pinterest board, so I just plug in images whenever I see something on Pinterest. I find it really, really fun and inspiring. So if that's something that connects with you, definitely, that's a fun way to see. It's kind of like creating a vision board for getting it on the computer. So I think the important thing and the reason we talk about that, the kind of life we live, saving money and making money can be hard work, right? And so the key to sticking to any goal in our lives is really to fall in love with the journey. And if you fall in love with your why, if you fall in love with your definition of what rich is, then it makes it that much easier to fall in love with the journey as you get yourself to where you want to be living. So this is interesting too. So now we're going to go into some of the nitty-gritty. So we've talked about the fun stuff, but now we're going to get into really, if we're talking about modeling really successful people, we have two really successful ladies on the line who are very successful in business and also in their personal life. So if we look at our own personal finances in terms of assets and liabilities, which is how business owners and people who have reached a certain level of success look at their financial picture. And even if you're not a business owner yet, this is a really great way to look at it. And truly, it's not rocket science. An asset is something that puts money into your pocket, and a liability is something that takes money out of it. So really, with smart cookies, you might be thinking, okay, great. How do I really get ahead? You look at your budget, you look at your spending plan, but I hear from so many people that they're just feeling stuck. They just are overwhelmed and they don't know where to go to get ahead. And I think what's interesting is that if you really look at, what you need to live the life that is rich for you, it might not be millions of dollars. It might not be hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you really write down expense, line item by line item, what you need financially to live the life that you picture in your head. This was a really profound exercise for me because I realized it actually wasn't as much as I thought it was. So I think that that's really important to look at. So that's what we're going to crack into right now, is looking at, okay, how can we really maximize the money coming in, and how can we be really smart and efficient with the money that's going out? So I wanted to ask, before I dive into this, to Janie and Renee, maybe we'll start with Renee. Renee, did you ever have a moment with you really felt like, okay, I know what I need to do to live the life that I want, and I'm going to do it? Like, did you have that moment? Like, when you decided to leave your employers, what did that look like for you?
Well, okay. I think that for me, and especially when you're a young attorney or professional, you trade on your reputation because you don't really have a whole lot else. And it's a bit of an interesting story, but one of my clients was listening to NPR, and apparently an attorney that I worked with and had some interaction with, that I was working on a case with, was a named party in a large federal indictment that involved foreign nationals and allegedly smuggling money. And I thought, I'm sitting there in my office thinking, oh my goodness, how have I involved myself where I work in an environment surrounded by people who just by association could do harm to my reputation and to my law career? And I really sat and thought, could I do this better myself? Could I continue to treat clients and take the cases that I wanted on my own without being in this kind of mix with individuals that I thought, were pretty damaging? And that was really, for me, kind of a kick in the butt, because I don't think that I would have started my own practice but for the fact that I was very fearful of being in an environment where I was around this kind of chaotic reputation, potential, career damaging environment. And so I really just maybe woke up one day and said, I've had enough. I need to remove myself from this and start my own business, and I can do this, and I can do it better. And that's pretty much what happened.
That's the thing. Sometimes, we need that little kick, that little push to get us over the edge. And then what happens is you do realize, yeah, I can do it. If I have to do it, I'm going to do it. Jeannie, what about for you? What was that moment when you're like, okay, I've got to do something different, and I know what I've got to do, and I'm going to do it?
For me, it actually happened when I was pregnant with my son. So he's now 4, over 4, and I knew I was working for Disney head office as a marketing manager, and I had a great job. My husband and I both lived out west at the time in British Columbia, and I knew that after having a baby, I would not want to return to the corporate world. No matter how amazing my job was at Disney, which it was great, but I knew that I did not want to go to a 9-to-5 job. I couldn't do it and not be with my son or not have that freedom. So I decided, well, I had it in my head before I was pregnant, and then when we had our son, a turn of events happened, and our son wasn't a good sleeper. So we hired a sleep consultant. Anyway, one thing led to another, and I was like, you know what? I can do this better. That sleep consultant just came. She was awesome. She saved our lives, yes, but there was, spelling mistakes and missing documents, and, I was like, I can, step this service up. I can take this to a whole completely other level. So Anyway, long story short, my husband and I decided that we wanted to move back to Ontario. He's a professional photographer. I've always been very entrepreneurial. I knew that one day I would work for myself. I had no idea it would be being a sleep consultant. So we literally decided to pack up, move back east to a hub. So being in the Toronto area, we knew we need to be in busy places. So we left our stable jobs with a 6-month-old and moved here, bought a house, and we both haven't looked back. We are busier than ever because we followed our passions. So it was just like, I know this is what I want to do. I believe that I could finally do it. I don't know if it was the pregnancy hormones, but I just did it. And that was it. So that was kind of I'm not going back to the corporate world. There's no way I can possibly do that. I will make this happen, and it's been profitable since the day I essentially opened my virtual doors.
And was that important to you? I'm interested to ask both you ladies a question. When you did decide to take the leap, did you set financial goals right off the bat? Or was it, okay, I just need to make money and I'm going to figure it out? Or were there specific financial goals tied to it? Jeannie, why don't you go first?
Was it like, am I going to make, like,
yeah, like, oh my God, I need to make $2,500 this month or I'm not going to do it. So,
no,
you know?
No, it was just like, I'm just going to make this happen.
Yeah.
It didn't, coming off of mat leave and making like next to nothing, I was like, hey, it can't be worse than that. So I literally just, it wasn't about that. I knew that if I was passionate about it, I knew that I was driven and motivated, which are qualities that I have, that it would just come back to me. And however it came back to me, whether it was $5 or $500 or $5,000, it didn't matter to me. I just knew I was doing something I love, and I knew that would come back to me.
I love it. Renee, what about you?
I wish I could be responsible and say, yes, I set these specific financial goals and I met the milestones. Mm-hmm. But that's really not the case. Mm-hmm. I just kind of decided I was going to start my own practice, crossed my fingers, and called up all my clients on my Rolodex and said, hey, will you come with me? And they all followed me. Wow. Because of that, and because of them, I was able to start my own practice.
Love it. So for everyone listening in on the call wondering, okay, and you might be thinking, okay, I want to start my own business, or just how do we create and attract more money into our lives? So I just kind of want to sum up what Jeannie and Renee just did a great job of talking about, and that is, when we look at, and so what you're seeing here is called the cash flow quadrant. It's actually by Robert Kiyosaki. And this is really interesting. So basically how we make money falls into 4 different quadrants. So if you are an employee, obviously, you get a paycheck, and you're employed and you work for a salary or a wage. So a self-employed person is someone who, you may have your own business, but your time is necessary to make money. And Jeannie has a really interesting story. I think we'll get to it in a couple minutes, but transitioning from the self-employed aspect, if you really value your time freedom, how can you switch that into a B quadrant business, which that means your business can make money with or without you. So Janie's done a great job at sort of shifting her business into that quadrant. But another example might be, like, say, Microsoft, for example. So Bill Gates, like, obviously he's not there day-to-day running Microsoft anymore. Then Microsoft runs and makes money without Bill Gates there. And then on the other quadrant, the investor. So that is someone whose money works hard for them. So that's rental income from real estate or stocks and bonds. So what I think this is so interesting. So most people, I think it's like 90% of people, work either an employee or self-employed, but 90% of the world's wealth is on the other side. So in business owners and investors. So that was a really profound and life-changing moment for me when I saw that. So it was a question of, okay, how do I get my little butt over to the other quadrant where all the money is being made as quickly as possible? But let's look at, no matter where we fall in this quadrant, let's look at some ways that we can sort of maximize our income potential and make some more dough in those areas, okay? And the opportunities are all around us all the time. Some of my girlfriends make fun of me because I use this example all the time. They're like, Sandra, I don't have any, I can't make any more money. Like, I can't do it. There's no opportunities for me. And then I showed them this little example and they rolled their eyes at me, but I think it's fun. Okay, so this is the FedEx logo. We've all seen it 1,000 times, yes? Does anybody else see anything in the logo? Everyone take a close look. I'm going to blow your mind in a minute here. Oh my gosh, there's an arrow there. And the point of that is, if you look at something, we see our lives, we live our lives every day, and there's opportunity, there's things around us all the time. But unless we know they're there, it's hard to seize those opportunities. So now you're going to see the arrow and the FedEx logo all the time, and now we're going to talk about some money-making opportunities that now you're going to see all the time as well. All right, so let's look at these different quadrants, and we can talk a little bit about, as an employee, you can ask for a raise, you can take a part-time job, you can seek higher paying opportunities, but maybe on the self-employed spectrum. Jeannie, do you want to talk a little bit about your experience in, sort of transitioning your business into more of a B quadrant business and how you did that and what that looks like?
Sure, absolutely. So what I did just recently with my sleep consulting business is that's what you're referring to, right, Sandra? Yeah. So what I did was I decided that I wanted to make more of me so I could back off on doing the consults and kind of clone myself. So I offered a training program where people are able to train with me to become a sleep consultant. So it's a 3-day training program. There's a fee for the course. I teach you everything you need to know to be a sleep consultant, and I give you all the tools you need, absolutely everything is ready to go, the consultants are on contract with me for 2 years, and I then take a percentage of everything they bring in the door. So they're still making great money. They have their own business, essentially, because I've done everything for them. They don't need to do anything. I coach and mentor them. So it lets me back away from doing all the consults myself. I now have 7 girls across Canada, and I'll be expanding to the States and more in Canada later this year as well. So it gives me the opportunity to coach them. I love coaching, I love marketing, I love the business end of things, so I can concentrate on that and mentoring them and getting them to be amazing sleep consultants. So they're taking care of my business, and I'm basically there's 7 of me right now out there. So it's bringing in more money. It's kind of, I guess, like a franchise model to some degree. And yeah, so that's what I've done recently, and it's been fabulous. I found some great girls, and they're doing amazing, and people are itching to be part of my next training, so it's great.
I bet it is. So cool. Renee, what about you from a perspective? Where do you, on a personal level, but also just in general for women, where do you see the most sort of opportunity maybe we're not taking advantage of to make more money in your life?
Well, I work with a lot of clients in what would be considered asset protection. So it ranges from people that are really struggling, that are considering bankruptcy, to people that have a lot of businesses, real estate, small businesses that are wanting to protect those assets. And part of my job within the bankruptcy framework, as well as the estate planning, is to help people maximize their assets, but also to get rid of items that are not producing income. For example, with my clients that have a lot of real estate holdings, that's their second income. A lot of times they work full-time, but some of the real estate holdings are sitting vacant, are not producing income because there's not a tenant in the building. A lot of times people were holding on to real estate, personal property, other items that had sentimental value but were not producing income. So part of what I do is work with people on a case-by-case basis and have them really take a look at all their assets to see, is this cabin providing me any income? Is it something that I can afford to keep? Or other avenues such as, I'm not making enough in my full-time job, what can I do with this to increase my income? And sometimes it is taking a second job or asking for a raise. I when I meet with people, I actually identify with a lot of employees and businesses, and I do encourage them to seek the avenues that you have listed at bullet points. So I think this is really good to consider, especially for women who I've noticed are not always as quick as they could be to ask for a raise, even if they deserve a raise.
That's so true. What do you think? What do you think that's about? Not having, is it because we're afraid? Is it, where does that? Maybe that goes back to some of our beliefs about money. What do you think, Renee, about our inability to negotiate, and especially when it comes to our jobs?
I can only speak for myself. I know I have other female attorney friends that are really fantastic and do a great job advocating for themselves, and I know they work with primarily men. This isn't everyone. For myself, I was always taught to be a people pleaser and to not kind of make any waves or create any issues. And so with that framework I had as a child, for me to sit and say, I'm not happy with my current salary, I deserve to be paid more based on these factors, to me is kind of, ooh, that's stirring up trouble, even though I think a male counterpart would feel completely justified in asking for a meeting, going through all the reasons why they deserve to make more money.
And that's just it, right? Going in armed with data. This is what I know I should be making, and this is what I've done to earn it. So it's not as though you're going in and saying, I deserve a raise, and the boss is going to look at you and say, great, why? Just make it really tangible. I think is definitely, for one, it gives you confidence going in there, and two, it's just, it puts it in a different framework, which I think we have more success when we can put it in those real tangible terms. Jeannie, I'm interested from your perspective too, because I think a lot of women now are looking at different business options. There's some fantastic franchise opportunities, and these are businesses you can just sort of plug and play, right? Or even network marketing. Do you want to talk a little bit about your experience in that realm and how you've weaved it into a residual income stream that sort of leverages what you're already doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So with having my We Sleep business, I found that so many moms afterwards would say, oh, now I have to get into shape, and it was, now I have to start taking care of myself. I've got all this time. So they would reach out to me for health advice, I guess just knowing that I was kind of into health and wellness from some of the mentions on my website. And so I found that there was an opportunity to cater to these women after they were getting sleep. So I already had the relationship with them. And I'm a personal trainer as well. So I started Clean Fit Mom to be able to offer nutritional programs and kind of lifestyle coaching and wellness coaching for these moms who wanted to get into shape now that they've had their little ones. So I chose a nutritional health partner, and it is a network marketing company. And it's amazing because I'm able to help women reach their obviously sleep goals and then now their health goals. So I'm making them feel amazing, aware, loving life now that they're rested and feeling great. And and then I'm also able to make money while I vacation because I have people who are always ordering from me, following. I have my team that's building as well. So we build the business and we work together as a team, and it's a residual income. So for a one-time sale, it will just keep bringing money down the road for repeat sales and that sort of thing. So there is a misconception on network marketing. It's, as Donald Trump says, if you don't have a network marketing business, you're missing the boat. So I kept hearing stuff like that over and over again. And I thought, hey, here's the opportunity to do even more of what I love, incorporate my health and fitness into my business model. So it worked perfectly. So that's how I integrated my residual income. So We Sleep and then Clean Fit Mom, they kind of, ride off of each other sort of thing. And then Clean Fit Mom also is just a separate entity where people are training with me or just reaching out to do programs and coaching, and also start businesses, and then I coach and lead them.
And I think that's so interesting, Jeannie, in terms of, so what you just talked about is such a advanced sort of business model, and that's leveraging, diversifying the different businesses that you're in. I think sometimes, as I catch myself in this, it's like, oh, I've got to have one focus. I can only be doing one thing. If I'm not only doing one thing, then I'm not going to be doing it well. But if you look at, people who have accumulated substantial wealth, they're experts at leveraging and diversifying their businesses. And I think we're seeing that more and more as women. There's definitely a trend happening where, women are starting their own businesses and making money that way, but also saying, okay, I'm creating something real. Like I want to plug into an existing business with like built-in marketing tools, et cetera, and leveraging either a franchise or a network marketing business as well. So I think that's great. Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the topic of making more dough, which we all love. But what about moving on to, okay, what can we do in our daily lives to really make those little moves that add up? We can talk about starting businesses and really making more money. But the truth is, on a daily basis, we're all faced with choices that we need to make with our money. And it really is those little itty-bitty moves that we make every day that add up over the long term. Because you can be making all the money in the world, but how you manage that money is really where, you're really going to change the game. I've done some events where doctors with hundreds of thousands of dollars will come up to us and say, I'm still drowning in student debts and I can't get ahead, and I can't sleep at night. And then we'll have a teacher making $60,000 a year who's ready to retire and travel the country because they managed to put a little money aside. So let's talk about some of those little moves we can make every single day. And I'll run through some of mine in a minute. But Renee, what about you? What's your favorite sort of money management tool or maybe money hack that you use every day or what's your money management system? Like what program do you use? Maybe that's
well, I don't necessarily use a program. I have spreadsheets I guess I use Excel, but I basically have a running spreadsheet for my business, my income and expenses, as well as any personal expenses that I think are tax deductible. So I try to keep really good monthly records of that because in the back of my head, I'm thinking, as someone that's self-employed, I can have the opportunity to write off quite a lot of expenses. However, if I don't remember to write those expenses down, if I don't go through receipts, then it's almost like losing money because I'll forget to add those items as deductions when I go to do my taxes at the end of the year.
That's so true. And that is a huge, also, if you're thinking about anyone listening on this call thinking, oh my gosh, I want to start a business, honestly, for the write-offs alone, it's almost worth it to start a business. But if you keep taxes. Jeannie, what about you? What's your sort of money management tool of choice these days?
Yeah, you know what? I've tried all sorts of apps and stuff, but I'm a very visual person. So for me, I have, like Renee, I have a spreadsheet. I have one for business, one for personal, where I'm always just keeping a running tally of what's coming in and what's going out, or what what I want to buy and where that money's going to come from, or what I want to save and where that money's going. And then I use FreshBooks for all my tracking of my business expenses and receipts and invoicing. But I every month basically just go through. I just have a folder that sits on my desk, and all my receipts go in there, and I weed through them so I don't miss anything for all those beautiful write-offs. But yeah, so I've tried Mint before and a couple other programs, but I just like to kind of have running very easy in front of me kind of spreadsheet. But I have thought that I should go back and tackle the app thing because I'm in love with all my apps. But the finance one, I think I've been like too scared to veer away from the tried, trusted, and true.
It's right. It feels strange to try something. I will say that I do love it. What's great about it, unlike so many of the cool apps out there, is that it is available in Canada and the US. So if anyone on the call is looking for a great resource just to get a simple snapshot of your money, Mint automatically syncs up all your bank accounts and gives you a really clear financial picture. It can help you keep track of those write-offs too, and is really handy if you are in debt as well, because it can help you sort of track your progress to getting debt-free. And I wanted to share a couple of others too. These are, for anyone listening in Canada, they are not available in Canada yet, so I'll run through them quickly, but the idea of them I think is so cool. So Digit is the one, and I'm interested if Janie or Renee would use it. So here's what Digit does. You sync it up with your bank accounts like Mint, and then it automatically, so it has an algorithm that goes in every couple days and figures out if you have like $4 or $20 extra in your bank account, and it automatically puts that in a savings account for you. So you're not telling it to do it. Digit is going into your bank account and saving your money for you.
Oh, I love that.
I love it too, and some people are like, God, no, I cannot relinquish that control. Renee, would you ever use that?
No, to be honest, no. I like to have control over my spreadsheets.
I know.
I'm sure that it's wonderful and that a lot of people would really do well to utilize that as a tool. Just for me, I know what my comfort level is.
No, I do get it, but I am that type of person that unless, because and even as a smart cookie, I'm like, okay, we'll go in, and I have it automatically coming out of my savings account, but I know that, $3 I would have spent on coffee. If the computer wants to go in and save that money for me, I'm all for it.
You go and you go to buy your coffee, and you're like, wait a second.
Yeah,
that's like $3.
They do have a no overdraft guarantee on their program, so. And then this one is interesting too. So this is called Acorn, and so what this does is, let's use the coffee for example. So you go to buy a coffee and say it's like $3.40. So Acorns is an app that will round up the price for you and then invest fair change. So you decide, so it puts it into an actual investment account for you, depending on it'll do a risk assessment, and you can decide, what kind of investments you want to put it in. But you essentially invest your spare change every day. So it's sort of an interesting little tool. It's getting some buzz in the media lately, and I think that that's interesting. So just a couple things to look into if you're the type of person who is curious about technology and how it can help us save a little bit of money here and there. But moving on to finding hidden money, and this is, we talk about, if you put your hand in your ski jacket at the end of just when you're pulling it out at the beginning of the season, or we're pulling out our spring jackets right now, and you reach in and you find $20 you didn't know was there, you feel like you're the richest person in the world. But there's these opportunities all around us to save money and find money every single day and week, and it really, really adds up. I'll tell you a really quick story. The house that you're seeing pictured there is actually one of the founders of Smart Cookies. That's Katie's house, and she has almost paid off her entire mortgage. She's halfway there. By renting out a room in her basement, actually, on Airbnb. So she's had a lot of success by that. So basically, Airbnb, you can earn money when you're not in your home, or if you are in your home, renting it out to travelers and different people coming into town. So that's an interesting one that has definitely worked for a lot of people that I know. Janie, what about you? What's your sort of favorite resource or way that you like to find hidden money or save money?
Well, I'm not the kind of person that ever has money lying around in my pocket. So I'm not. My husband's the one that will be like, "Oh my gosh, I found $100 in my pants. It's been through the wash." But and I'm the one that is always like, it's either in the bank or tucked in a corner of my wallet. So I don't find those little gems like that. But for me, it's more like strategically having things set up. So our investment planner pulls out, money twice a month to go to savings. We know what comes out every month, and it's gone, so I don't see it. I don't have to worry about it. Just things like that. Or I'm more of the kind of person, if I don't want to pay for something, I will create something to pay for it. So, for instance, I found that there weren't any wellness camps for kids this summer. And this is my first year having my son who's going to be out of school for the summer. So I thought, well, I have to work still. Like, I can't be home with him every day, all day. Like, I do have to have some time to work. I can't have a call with a toddler jumping on my back. So I thought, well, I'm going to create a camp and partner with somebody. So I partnered with a yoga studio, and we created a wellness camp. So now I don't have to pay for camp for my son. I get free yoga for a year. Again, I don't pay for the camp, and we have now, I'm also going to be making money off that camp. So it's more like, not necessarily finding hidden money. It's more about how I find ways to not spend money on things that can add up.
Yeah.
Quite a lot.
And focusing on, we call it in circles our rather factor. So it's like tuning in on what you would rather spend that money on. So it's the camp, it's, whatever that goal is, and be super focused on, creating making smart choices with your money, and even, creating an income stream that's going to pay for that.
Yeah.
The ultimate. Renee, what about you? What's your favorite tool for saving money?
So I think what I do for finding hidden money that is very accessible, that a lot of smart cookies or savvy women can do, is I actually utilize credit cards. And I'm against having a ton of credit card debt. However, I'm totally for taking advantage of cashback credit cards or points and things of that nature, as long as you pay off your credit card in full at the end of the month. So I get my cash back on my credit card, and for me, it supplies me with my book habit. I love to read. I read probably 2 to 3 books a week, and so I know that I have my cash back for my credit cards, and that's my book budgets, and I feel like that's free money that I'm getting, and I'm paying off my credit card every month, so I feel like I'm being responsible about using the credit. And then on a larger scale, I would think that passive income is something that a lot of smart cookies would be interested in, and that's, setting up things like stocks, real estate, like you were talking about, renting out a home for, weeks at a time. Those are things that provide you with passive income where you're not really doing a lot past that first investment to generate cash for yourself.
I think that's sort of the biggest missing opportunity that sometimes, because you just have to take the leap. There's so much unknown. What would be your advice, Renee, for someone who just doesn't even know where to start there? Like, what's your favorite investing tool, or what would you recommend to someone to just get started and start learning more?
To get starting on investing, or?
Yeah, investing or even real estate. Do you have a favorite sort of resource or anything that you would recommend there?
I mean, I can't think of a resource offhand, especially because everyone on this webinar is from different states. Some people are out of the country in Canada. But I think that in general, it's good to have good people and referral sources. I think that real estate agents can be very knowledgeable about what types of properties make rental properties and commercial property versus single-family homes. So I think it's good to look at your local community, and if you're interested in real estate, meet with a successful real estate agent or someone that can educate you. And I'm a big fan of getting educated in whatever avenue you're looking at investing in prior to making the investment. And I think for stock portfolios, I'm sure any type of personal finance investor, financial planner in your community could direct you towards, some risk-averse stocks if you just are new and wanting to get started.
I think that's great advice. And, I think, and one of the reasons, or the biggest reason, getting you ladies together on this call is so great. It's, I think a lot of times we shy away from asking other successful women, what are you doing? Who's your financial planner, and how did you create the life that, it looks like you're living a life that I want to be living? And I think asking those questions to someone that you really admire, as women, so willing. I love sharing that kind of information. If someone comes up to me and wants to know the nitty-gritty of my financial picture, I will probably overshare way too much information with them. But asking someone, who they use for their financial planning, etc., I think can be a great resource for people too. And sometimes just having that conversation can spur the next thing, and you automatically tap into someone else's input, which is always useful. I want to run through, you might be wondering too, so retail me not, and I'm not a big couponer. I'm not even a little bit on the crazy coupon scale. but I do a lot of online shopping, and I love Retail Me Not is sort of my go-to for promo codes. So if I'm doing shopping for the kids on OldNavy.com, before I check out, I always just go to Retail Me Not and do a quick promo code search, and guaranteed every time I find like an average of $5 to $20 off my purchase. So definitely utilizing Retail Me Not has been me hundreds of dollars throughout the year. And then Get Human. The president's probably thinking, what the heck is that? So Get Human as Smart Cookies, and Renee, you hit on it when you talked about like using your credit cards, right? If you're paying those credit cards off, make sure you're taking advantage of the perks that are offered. So one of the things that I do on a regular basis is call my credit card company to find out if there's new perks or just different rewards that I need to be taking advantage of that month, because it changes from month to month. But I was so sick and tired of getting caught in the robo voice, like, press 1 for this, press, and I'm like, I just want to talk to a person. So Get Human is a website that you can plug in wherever you need to call, and it works in Canada or the US. And it will give you the path to press on the keys so that it'll get you to a human as quickly as possible so that you can get help with. That for me was a life-changing piece of work. Saving money and time is the best win-win in my book. So in terms of saving money and being smart with our money, I think that's great. But I think when it comes to exercising and staying inspired when it comes to our money and our financial goals, it's really important to oh, sorry, I totally skipped this part. I'm going to go back because this is really important in terms of protecting your wealth. And Renee, do you want to jump in here too? Because I think this is really your area of expertise. What's something really simple, because I know there's so much here, that everyone listening on the call can do to really protect their wealth and their hard-earned money?
So I really, really think this is something that every single person listening can do, and it's free. I really urge you to run a credit report, not only on yourself, but on your children, whether they're babies, they're 5 years old, they're 20, it doesn't matter. Lots of individuals will use children's social security numbers to perpetuate credit card fraud schemes. And a lot of my bankruptcy clients, the first meeting, I'll sit down with them and we'll run a credit report, and there's judgments that they were not aware of that are on their credit. So if you are going to purchase a car, let's say, and you show up and they run your background check and your finances, and they say you're not approved, you need a cosigner, that's a red flag. That means there's something on that credit report that is not right. And I think information is the key. And so I really urge everyone, you can go to, in the United States, freecreditreport.com. It does not cost you anything. Don't sign up for all the extra packages. Just say that you would like the credit report, and it'll show every open line of credit under your name, your spouse's, your children. And I think it's really important to have that information, because if there's something wrong, if there's some kind of fraud going on, you have the opportunity to call up the credit reporting agency and lodge a complaint in order to protect yourself and protect your family. I really think this is important.
Mm-hmm. And we have the Canadian resource there too, so you can visit Equifax.com or TransUnion.com in Canada, and you just need to request your free copy that will come by mail, and that's your full credit report. So not just the score, it's actually your full credit report. And that's something, Renee said, that can be the difference. I mean, that's going to affect everything. Your ability to get a cell phone, your ability to get a mortgage, and one little blip. Heard horror stories about, something someone did in college that was, had a flag on their credit report that they didn't know until they went to apply for a loan and couldn't get it. So, it's easy to forget about that when you don't need it, but staying on top of that, if there's one thing you can do for this call, make a note and put a reminder in your calendar, get it, and done. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's so important. So that's one thing we can do to really protect ourselves. But going back to, what can we do to stay inspired? And I thought it might be fun to share some of our favorite resources. We love and I'm a nerd when it comes to personal finance books and books in general, but sometimes, just signing up for an email can actually keep you inspired as well. I don't know if you guys have heard of dailyworth.com, but they send out a daily email that's really great and really aimed at, who we are as smart cookies. So it's, smart, savvy women who are business owners and also employed, and really has smart advice on exactly what you see here, how to plan, earn, and spend, and live. Is there anything, Jeannie, sort of that you have in your sort of daily go-to for inspiration, maybe for business or just sort of personal finance, or anything that you like to keep you inspired?
Well, I do look forward to my smart cookies emails.
Yeah, you do.
I love Carly Noblick. Is it Noblick? Do you know who I'm talking about? Carly, she's got all the tech tips and kind of budget saving tips.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, she's awesome. And Kate Northrup. So I subscribe to a lot of just kind of daily goodness. There's some great tidbits some days, other days there isn't, but they're always, they've always got really great information that I'll take from it, and they're just kind of pick-me-ups for me. So nothing too extreme. They're always quite light things that I sign up for, so I'm not bombarded with all these heavy emails. So just light and fresh tips. I love tech tips or things that can make me work more efficiently. So I'm always looking for stuff on that. But yeah, so.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And I just popped up Kate Northrup. I had her on one of the slides too. So she's great too. And I think I think you're right, Jeannie. Sometimes I open the emails, and sometimes even just seeing the title pop up on my phone, I'm like, oh, that's just a little boost I needed to remind myself of, what I'm actually working towards. So yeah. I think sometimes that's all it takes. Renee, do you have any go-tos, or what sort of books are you reading that you're loving right now on the sort of personal finance front, besides the one that you're working on? I can't wait to hear about.
To be honest, I'm not reading any personal finance books this week. But I do go on Twitter every day, and I have kind of a running list of people that are in personal finance that I find inspiring, that I think give good information. For example, I like LearnVest, Rachel Cruz. I also follow Daily Worth on Twitter. So I definitely feel like I get more diversity in terms of personal finance information just from going on Twitter.
Yeah.
And shout out to the people that are live tweeting our webinar. Thank you, Sexy and Wealthy in Heels. There's like 5 tweets already, so we appreciate you. Thank you.
That's awesome. And speaking of inspiring women you should follow on Twitter, you should definitely follow Renee. Renee, what's your Twitter handle?
Okay, it's a bit of a handful. It's Renee Linares Chin, ReneLinaresChin.
Perfect. And I'll send all the links out in a recap email afterwards. And Jeannie, what's your Twitter too?
I have We Sleep. It's just WEE Sleep. And then I have Clean Fit Mom.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. You just need those little daily pickups to keep you going. Mm-hmm. And while I've got Kate Northrup's slide up too, I want to, because we're talking about taking action, right? And how to, what can we do when we get off this call? To really take action based on what we've learned. Because I think I talked about, when we were promoting the event, no matter where you are, if you are a business owner, if you're stuck in a job that you hate or even you love and you want to make more money, what can you do after this call? What's one action you can take? Maybe it's signing up, maybe it's following Renee on Twitter, maybe it's signing up for Kate Northrup's emails. Whatever it is, challenge yourself to just do one thing. And I challenge you to write that one thing on our Smart Cookie Facebook page. And I'll tell you why I really want you to do that and why that's important. Because when we started Smart Cookies and it was just the 5 of us girls and we were doing our money club and meeting every week, we'd set financial goals before. We had talked about making more money. But it wasn't until we held each other accountable and we put those goals out there in a safe, supportive environment that we really stuck to them and made the difference. So this is your community. We are your support system, so make that goal public. Whatever your one move you're going to take next week is, maybe it's get your free credit report. and put it on our Smart Cookies Facebook group, or you can tweet it out too, and then we'll help each other and we'll support each other. And one of the things I want to encourage you to do is take a look at, we talked about this before, and actually Janie brought it up, but Kate Northrup and I, who you just saw on that slide, are mentoring and leading a team with a network marketing company with our product partner. And we're building a team of women who really want to tap into that residual income that Jamie was talking about. So I'm going to do a Q&A call, and it's actually this Wednesday. So you're going to see the sign up for this in your email, but I really encourage you, if you're thinking, yeah, you know, I want to learn more about this residual income thing, and maybe network marketing with the right company and the right team is something I want to pursue. I really invite you to jump on that call with me, because I think it'll be really informative for you. So again, you'll see that pop up. You'll get a special email about that as well, and that's just for people who are on this call. And I wanna talk about too, you know, when we look at those little money moves that add up, and we set that goal for yourself for this week, and you're thinking, like, what is this really going to add up to? A couple of, you know, I think Renee and Janie, your success stories are so inspiring, and I hear from so many women who have also, you know, really accomplished phenomenal feats when it comes to their personal and their financial life. Melanie Knight is one of our Smart Cookies who showed up at a speaking event at UBC, at the University of British Columbia, when we first started Smart Cookies, and she, you know, wrote down all the tips and has been super involved in our community, and she emailed me just a couple of weeks ago, and she saved up enough money to move across the country. She's actually in Nova Scotia, and she's funded a aquarium, the nonprofit of her dreams, by taking little baby steps every day. And then Carrie Ann, who paid off $18,000 of debt in 1 year. And I share these stories because I think, you know, seeing these women, we often feel like, oh my gosh, I can't do it, I'm not going to do it. But those daily actions that you make really, really do pay off. So use your community and stay inspired, and use us. And Janie and Renee, maybe Janie, do you want to start? Is there anything you want to add as we sort of wrap up? You know, any advice to stay motivated every day if we're setting our goals, setting our big goals? How do you stick to it every single day?
I plan my week and update my goals kind of every day as things kind of shift during my week. But every Sunday, I basically, you know, actually in my calendar are all my appointments, but on my desk there's always a printed sheet with my to-dos. I have motivational quotes and a nice kind of dream board beside me, so vision board, I guess. And so I'm just always retweaking, taking a look at things. But the one thing I always remind myself is to step out of my fear, because we are so often held back by fear, whatever that fear is. And I think it's just amazing when we can actually step out of that fear and take a look around, and you'll see that things will just open up and there's no reason to be afraid. And I think stepping into your fear is really powerful. I think everybody should do it at some point in their life, for sure.
Yeah. I love that. Renee, what about you? What keeps you going every day, working hard and sticking to your goals?
Well, I do like visual reminders, like on my planners and journals, but honestly, I just want to keep having the lifestyle that I have now. So just being able to work from home and, you know, work with my husband, who's my partner in all of this, he really keeps me motivated also, and reminds me of goals we have as a couple, as a family. So it's really great wherever you have support to utilize that and to work together with friends and family to reach those goals.
Yeah, I love that. And I really think, you know, having this Smart Cookie community and, you know, you ladies, we're here to share, and we're here to support, and we're here to help. So I included some ways on the slide, and again, I'll email these out, but keep in touch with us, use the community, use our Twitter community, and Instagram is becoming such a, I'm on Instagram all the time. I just think it's a really, I don't know, I love the community aspect of it. So use that, you know, go to Renee's website, there's a link there as well. She's a phenomenal resource, both in terms of financial literacy and also legal matters as well, and I know we all have questions when it comes to that. And then, of course, Janie, if you are a mom and you're having trouble getting your kid to sleep, your baby to sleep, if you are exhausted and you can't do it anymore, please go see Janie. You don't even have to go see her. You do it all online, right, Janie?
Yep, it's easy.
It's so easy. And she really did do it for me and Violet. And I don't know at what stage I emailed you, Janie. It was probably like 3 o'clock in the morning. I was like, help. I can't do this anymore.
I get lots of emails around that hour.
I bet you do. But you'll be amazed at how much more money you save and make when you're well rested. I can attest to that. So definitely check out Janie at wesleep.ca, and also, is it cleanfitmom.com?
Yes, it's .com.
Perfect. And I'll email those links. Ladies, thank you so much for sharing and being on the call. I can't tell you just how special it was and how honored I was to chat with you tonight. So thank you so much. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for being on the call, too. And, of course, you can email me directly if you have any questions at sandra@smartcookies.com. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Renee. Thank you, Janie. And we'll sign off for tonight, but we should do this again sometime. This is fun.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Bye, everybody. Good night.
Bye. Bye.